This channel is supported by my online fishing courses at saltstrong.com/Skinner, as well as my books, including my latest book, Fishing the Edge, Techniques and Tales from Surf, Boat, and Kayak. You can learn more about the books at johnskinnerfishing.com and on Amazon. Yeah, good morning. You know, I haven't been out on the water with the boat or kayak in, I don't know, a week plus because it's been so windy. And in the meantime, some stripers and stuff came in along the beaches. Still no albies, but all right, I'm gonna start for blackfish, but I've got bass stuff. I have albie stuff. I am not, completely convinced that we won't see albies this year. Maybe not like we do in other years, but anyway, it's always an adventure. We'll see what happens. Oh, this is going to be a good trip. Definitely some quality on this one. And something I want to do on this video is just share some thoughts about bait preparation for dealing with, what do you do with these green crabs? Do you cut them? Do you leave them whole? Do you cut the legs off? Do you take off the shells? I mean, all different ways to do it. And so I definitely want to talk about that a little bit. I will have links to all of the gear in the video description. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. This is Eastern Long Island, and I'm just getting started here. And since I'm just getting started, you see I'm using a cut crab. Absolutely. As soon as I start on an area, I want to cut those crabs. I want to make sure, I've got crab guts going in the water because that's what builds the bite. You start dropping crabs down there, you're basically chumming with your hook in a way. But at some points, you're going to see me using whole crabs, and sometimes I cut the legs off, sometimes I don't. Why is that? Well, there's actually a reason. Yeah, as always with this fishing, when you put down as a zillion little bites, and you got to wait for that jig to swim away with a better fish because there's a million little fish pecking away at things, and the better ones pick it up and go. Oh, but he's huge. I don't think he's a keeper. Borderline. All right, we're calling that a short. So the keeper is 16 inches here in New York. You can keep 3. I'm keeping none again. I happen to have been out in a boat recently, and I have some other fish to eat. And it's just, I don't know, it's a little less convenient to keep them in the kayak. So, all right, what are we doing with this crab and why? Where are we at here? All right. Yep, well, it's, we're still early on, so I'm going to cut them. So now the question is, well, do you leave the legs on or not? You know what? A lot of that, to me, is going to depend on the current. When the current's running, having the legs on increases the drag and, the drag on your line, and it will actually require you to use a little bit heavier weight. Now, I try to use as light as I possibly can. I'm using a 1/2 ounce jig when I can. Go up to 3/4, 1. I never go past 1 1/2. So if the current is getting to be a factor, I'm going to cut those legs because it's just less resistance in the water. Yeah. Oh, come on. Now, I bet you on this trip, I probably changed my jig weight 6 times. I mean, start with a 1/2, or maybe it was 3/4. The current slowed up, go to a 1/2, back to 3/4, up to 1, briefly 1 1/2. Just it takes nothing to just tie one simple knot, change your jig. It really pays off to have the lightest possible weight down there. Okay, come on. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a keeper for sure. All right. All right, you see I left the legs on. The current's actually, it's weakening up a little bit, and it's not really an issue, so I'll leave the legs on. The issue with that can be all those little fish that peck at it. That gives them something to grab onto. So a lot of times I'm on the fence about that. That's a good one. Yeah. All right, well, it's 18-ish, 18 plus. Still looking for those 5-pound plusers. You'll get them. Grabs me. Come on. Oh. I knew something a little different. All right, a sea bass. And you know, it's actually the second sea bass. I didn't show the other one. And also, I'm not showing, other than the first one, I'm not showing the short blackfish. And there's probably, it seems to be 2 to 3 shorts for every keeper. So I've been here a little bit now, definitely more than 30 minutes. I've got 2 keepers. I'm going to move. Look at the left-hand side of the fish finder. You're going to see the structure being drawn on there. There's rocks all over. This is a rock I picked up with the side scan, and on the boat, put the numbers on this unit, and you can just see it getting drawn on there now. And then what a great device is this spot lock. Whoever invented that, they were thinking. Well, you can just push that button, there goes the motor, hit the brakes, lock right on top of that piece of structure. My goodness, this is easy. Now, when I say 2 to 3 shorts for every keeper, I mean that's going to be my trip average. But so far, I'm sure I've got more than 10 short blackfish and just the 2 keepers. That's why I moved. And there's a big question, like how long do you wait on a piece? And I should look it up. It must have been 30 to 45 minutes. And I got those 2 pretty early, so I just wasn't feeling it there. Just a lot of shorts, a couple of sea bass. So that's why I made the move. There we go. Those colors, huh? All right, well that guy's good. So it's a good start on this rock. Okay, another question is, do you leave the shell on or you take it off on the bait? I'll get more into that in a second, but when I'm fishing here, there's a lot of interference fish. I always leave the shell on, but I'll say more about that. There we go, come on. You just tell that's a better one. I was waiting for that. Very nice. All right, let's watch a couple from this angle. You know, the drop is so important. You see I'm just getting that line off, get the line off, and I'm watching to see the line float. Then I know it's hit bottom, and then, you know, contact, not pressure. And you got to accomplish that pretty quickly because you're getting hits like right away, and you want to be ready. There you go. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Before taking the run, I'm just going to get him away from this rock. Yeah, that's a nice one. Bigger. There we go. All right, finally. So that's a good one. I've probably mentioned it every video that I'm wearing them, but you can see my slickers in top. That's Bimini Bay, $100 for the set. They've had this sale. They started it earlier in the year. They ran out. They've got them back in stock. A nice thing about the stuff is it's breathable. So you'll see me wearing the same stuff in Florida, not on the hot days, but you know, on those winter days where it's, you know, in the 60s or something. Yeah, I'll wear the same stuff. So, all right, there's a link to that in the video description. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, you'll see me messing with the drag because when that fish dives, I mean, this 10-pound test, using thin braided line is a key to this fishing, so you can use the lightest weight jigs. But, you know, a good dive, they can break it. But if you let them run too much, they can hang you. So I'm definitely going to have different drag tensions depending on how close I think the fish is to cutting me off on the rock. You know, so even if I was keeping fish, there's no way I'd keep one this big. These are slow growers. That's a female. You can tell by the coloration. So that would go back. Even if I wanted to keep them and didn't have any, I wouldn't keep that one. Okay, well, that's definitely good. Nice. All right, so let's get back to whether I leave the shell on the crab or not. The bites are instantaneous here. Not necessarily good blackfish, but small blackfish, sea bass, porgies, everything. When I fish with my friend John Halkias, we fish in some places where it's not really like that, and you actually have time where you put it down and you wait and you get a bite, and it's a blackfish. A lot of times he'll take the shells off the crabs, and he has convinced me under certain situations when the bite is picky, that can help. But I would get cleaned out if I tried it here. Yeah, he could take off. Yeah, okay, a nice sea bass. I didn't catch a lot of sea bass this trip. I think I had 3. And just a few porgies, which is good, because if you have too many of those, then they're bothering you as well. I've got the underwater video, shows those things hitting the jig before it even hits the bottom. They're hitting it. So, but yeah, that was a good one. That's probably a legal one. New York will be 16.5 inches. That one was probably good. Yeah, great thing about jig fishing is you'll like almost never gut hook a blackfish using a jig. And it's important because the vast majority of blackfish, even if you were keeping them, you can only keep 3. I mean, the vast majority of blackfish that are caught, you have to release them. Now, when you're just using a hook on a leader, I mean, how many times when you've done that do you bring up a blackfish and all you see is leader coming out of the mouth because he's taken the hook deeply? So that's just a nice side effect of the jig fishing. Is it's better on the fish. Definite keeper there. All right, you may have noticed I was using yellow line. Now I'm using white line. Well, that's just a matter of that 10-pound test line, that Seagar Smackdown. That's really nice, and I've been using that for a lot. And that you really want to use something that you can see because you're watching the line so carefully. So anyway, the 10-pound class outfit, that's what I use most of the time. I've got this other one rigged with 30. It's got some Berkeley X9 white on there from fluke fishing, and it's just at a point now where the current's not very strong at all, so I don't really need the thinnest line, and hey, it just gives me a little extra margin of error here where if a fish really wants to run and take me into the rocks, hey, I'd much rather have it on the end of 30-pound line than 10. So I'm going to fish 30 until the current picks up, then I'll go back to 10. And I'm using a 1/2-ounce jig. You can see the line straight down, hardly any current right now. There's a keeper. Keeper plus there. And by the way, for anybody who sheepshead fishes, yeah, this technique works beautifully for sheepshead. This is what I do in Florida in the winter. I fish around docks and other structure, and yep, jig and crab, just different kind of crabs there, either fiddlers or mud crabs. Yeah, so I went through a stretch without any keepers there. It might have been like 45 minutes or so. So yeah, you see I'm back to that yellow line. I'm back to the 10-pound test because the current's running a little more now. And I've also made a move. And because I've just arrived on this other rock, you know, it's the bites aren't going to be crazy as soon as it hits the bottom. You can see it's going to take a little bit longer before I'm going to set the hook. Yeah, why am I looking out there? I'm looking for albies or bass, birds. Come on, anything. You know, if you watch previous years' videos when I'm doing this kind of fishing, there's albies going by, there's stripers. Oh, not this year so far. I just moved rocks. Gotta keep her. Current's really starting to go though. Solid fish. That feels like maybe a better one there. Yeah, well that one would make it for sure. Alright, one more crab, one more crab. That's it, gotta get the hell out of here. Alright, one more crab, then I gotta get out of here. Alright, last drop, man. got 2 fish on the last crab, so let's do one more last crab. Okay, whole crab. So I cut the claws, and you're going to see me make one cut here, and that's just to get some juices flowing, just a snip on the corner, and off it goes. And by the way, I said last crab. Well, yeah, last crab, last drift, last cast. Yeah, those lasts, for me, they're rarely the last, but I really thought this was going to be. But all right, putting down again. And note, it does often take longer to get the hits on the whole crab, but sometimes it's a bigger fish. Not always. Good hit. Oh boy. Oh, this is the best one. I've been quitting for the last 20 minutes. Whoa. You know what, let's just make life a little easier here. Just to get my fingers chewed on. Alright, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's a nice one. You know what? So let's see what he weighs. Yeah, that's a beauty. Oh, jeez. Very nice. What a way to end the trip. Well, obviously that wasn't going to be the last drop. Yeah, that was a real good one. You'll see me wade through a lot of little bites here before I finally feel that fish swim off, and then I set the hook. Not a monster, but nice fish. Definitely a keeper. Okay, so what you're seeing here is me not getting hit because I didn't crack the crab enough. If you just put the crab down and don't cut the shell, a lot of times, at least for me, in the places I fish, it's kind of amazing. Why don't they just eat the crab? I mean, they should be happy they're getting a handout. But no, that crab sat there and sat there, and I just didn't crack it enough. Now I'm going to peel that little piece of shell back, pull it right off, put it back down. It's going to be a completely different result. Here we go. Here we go. Oh. All right, that's it. We're calling it there. And they got him in the afraid the leader. Ran it in. All right. That's it. Win some, lose some. Oh, hey, that's blackfishing, man. He cut me off on a rock. What a trip. 14 keepers, some really, really nice ones. So, yeah, real happy with that. All right, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Check out my online courses at saltstrong.com/Skinner. And don't forget my books. You can learn more about the books at johnskinnerfishing.com and on Amazon.